Welcome to the EGC Edge Marketing Podcast, where we provide you with the latest digital marketing news, performance marketing tips, and creative problem-solving skills you need to stay resilient in our fast-changing world of marketing. Listen each week and learn how to get the edge over your competition and grow.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining our second episode of the EGC Marketing Edge podcast. My name is Max Ross, and I am an account manager at EGC and also the host of this podcast. Today, I am joined by Angela Mertz, who is the Vice President of Integrated Media at EGC. She is here to tell you how to make Remnant media work for your business. If you've had your hand in the company's marketing or advertising efforts, Remnant media is definitely a term that you should get familiar with. Angela, it's a pleasure to have you.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So firstly, can you explain what Remnant ad space is and how it differs from other types in the advertising industry?
Remnant ad space is essentially just unsold inventory, and it could come in the form of just advertising that didn't sell at its normal higher rate, or perhaps there were cancellations from other advertisers. But either way, it's inventory that is now suddenly available that the media and publishers had no idea they were going to have. So they look to basically sell off that inventory. And usually that comes at a much, much lower cost than you would purchase it in advance. And so that's essentially the difference is a normal media campaign is just placed in advance. You know exactly what you're going to get. You know exactly where you're going to land. You can plan for it. The Remnant just essentially is the same, except that it comes kind of last minute.
I know you touched on this a bit, but can you highlight some of the main advantages or disadvantages of utilizing this Remnant ad space, in particular for advertisers?
Yeah, so essentially that's exactly what I had just kind of touched on a little bit was that the advantage is that you get in most cases it's premium inventory, but you're just getting it at a lower cost. And then a disadvantage, though, sometimes is that you're maybe not so prepared to be able to take full advantage of the remnant space that you're getting, and B, you're also it's sometimes not the most desirable portion. So, for example, you would get a remnant ad space. Maybe you would if you would have purchased it in advance. Perhaps you would get like more premium positioning. And if you're getting remnant, there are times where your remnant ad space could perhaps be, back of the pod or something like that.
So I guess this transitions somewhat into the next question. How can advertisers effectively target their desired audiences when using this Remnant ad space?
So it really is essentially the same as any other type of media that you want to do. Any remnant media that becomes available, whether it's digital, online, offline, you're in most cases can use any of your normal targeting to be able to utilize that data. And you would basically not take advantage of remnant that comes available if it doesn't really fit within the profile or your client's goals or objectives. So it really is not a factor that is needing to be concerned from a brand because it's totally fine. We can use no matter what, you can use the inventory if it works for you, or, you could just pass. You don't have to take advantage of the remnant opportunity if it's not right.
And are there any specific industries or types of product services, rather, that are particularly, we'll say, well suited for Remnant ad space? And also, can you touch on maybe why this may be?
Yeah, that's a great question because really, it really can work for everyone if your creative is available. So that's one thing that I completely stress to all of our brands is always have some form of an evergreen or generic type of commercial available, or messaging strategy available that you can utilize for any remnant space that becomes available. This way, you never want to have to turn down such a fantastic opportunity because you don't have a message that's appropriate for the moment, or so on and so forth. And to that end, most of our e-commerce and travel related, there's always typically an offer that's ready to go no matter what, even if it's a generic go-to offer. Most of our retailers always have something that we can tap into. So those are the advertisers that are able to take advantage and get these usually great placements at a lower cost, because they always have a message that's ready to go.
And I guess what strategies can advertisers employ to maximize, let's say, the return on ad spend of their remnant ad space campaigns?
So truly, it would be the same as any other way that you would track your campaigns. If your KPIs are phone calls or form fills, that would still apply. Um, we can always isolate the time frames that your remnant campaigns are running and take a look at them specifically. We can always utilize certain dedicated phone numbers or URL strategies. Any of that can always happen. So it's not that different, really, than any other way that you would sort of manage your campaigns. But I would always recommend that there is a layer of paid search that happens anytime that you're running any advertising, whether it's remnant space or not, because those paid search strategies really do see benefits from any type of influx into the media, whether it's remnant or if it's a planned space. So my recommendation overall is to always make sure that you have a paid search campaign running with any type of media that you put into the market.
And lastly, as an agency employee and as a member of an agency, is there a particular area where you see the most remnant opportunities at EGC that you would like to touch on? I guess just for some real world application of this.
Absolutely. So there's several, but the one that comes across my desk often is through television. Oftentimes, this is where what I had touched on earlier. There's always seems to be, whether it's a cancellation or maybe some of the media might have thought that they were going to be able to sell space at a higher cost and realize that there isn't maybe an appetite to spend what they thought there was going to be for certain programming. And those are the programs that we see come across my desk. And why do they come across my desk and why do I hear about them? Well, we just are constantly speaking to the media vendors, having conversations. I've raised my hand enough times in my seat that they know that my clients are going to be available and we're going to take advantage of the opportunities. So we are one of the first that get that phone call, which I think is really benefited so many of our EGC clients. Also, another layer to that, I would say, would be the fact that we're always keeping up on trends and watching what's going on TV. And again, we raise our hands to our media partners and let them know. I think we would want to see some opportunities in these programs and so on, and let them know that we're not willing to pay regular costs, but when they're ready to come to us with like a fire sale, we're buyers, we're here. So I think that's where most of our clients have seen real benefits, have been really truly in some high profile TV applications, and it's been great for them.
So, Angela, it does look like these relationships do give us somewhat of a competitive advantage over other agencies. And actually, looking at a Gartner study, it seems that marketing budgets have fallen from 9.5% of company revenue in 2022 to now 9.1 in 2023. So, I guess to conclude, can we briefly touch on how utilizing remnant media is essentially doing more with less?
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, just a perfect example of something like that is that your impressions and your delivery isn't any different. It's just really your cost per action that goes down. And you get placements in high profile places that can actually save you money. So a real life example is we were able to get placements within some pretty high profile shows, Bravo's Vanderpump Rules. We got that at a remnant cost. We were able to place clients in Yankees playoff games. Again, last minute deals to get into these placements, something that they didn't plan for, and it was at half the cost. So these are the types of opportunities that cross my desk all the time. And that's really where we provide an advantage to our client, give them that edge above some of the other advertisers out there, because the media partners just know that I'm going to be available and that our clients are going to be available. We have creative ready. We have our tracking ready. All of our clients have their messaging strategies ready to go. All of those things. And it helps them to be able to take advantage of some of these opportunities that maybe some other brands can't do.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Angela, for all this amazing information, and thank you so much to our listeners. If you do enjoy this podcast, do feel free to like, share, and even subscribe. Thank you so much for listening or watching, and we will see you in our next podcast. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.